Hey y'all, it's Crystal here from Christico Design. Today we are crocheting this Christmas envelope gift card holder. You'll need about 36 yards of number 4 medium worsted weight yarn and a 6mm crochet hook. We have about a 3/4 inch button to finish off with. You'll need your yarn in red and white or 2 colors. We'll start with our red yarn and a slip knot on our hook. We're going to use the foundation single crochet to make 13 single crochets, or you can chain 14 and single crochet in the second chain from your hook and in each stitch across. Okay, once you have 13 stitches, we're going to turn our work, chain 1, and then single crochet in the first stitch and in each stitch across. Turn your work and keep repeating row 2 until your rectangle measures 5.5 inches tall. Once your rectangle is 5.5 inches tall, you can cut your yarn. Leave a long tail for seaming up the sides when we fold it. And we're going to change to color B, or our white. Okay, to change colors, I'm going to back out my last stitch and redo it, but I'm going to stop before my last yarn over. So I start my single crochet, stop, drop my red yarn, and pick up my white. Yarn over and pull through in the white. And now I'm ready to turn and start my next row. with my white yarn. For this first row, I'm going to chain 1, single crochet in the same stitch, and in each stitch across. I'll still have 13 single crochets. We'll turn our work, and for row 2, we'll start with a chain 1 and a single crochet 2 together. Then I will make a bobble stitch in the next stitch. And then single crochet in the next stitch, and then bobble in the following. And that's my repeat across, single crochet, bobble, until I have 2 stitches left. When I have 2 stitches left, I'm going to single crochet 2 together in those last 2. We'll have 11 stitches now in this row. We'll turn our work, and for row 3, we're going to chain 1. We'll start with a single crochet 2 together. And then we're going to single crochet in each stitch until the last 2. In the last 2 stitches, we'll place single crochet 2 together. We'll end row 3 with 9 stitches. We'll turn our work, and now we're going to repeat rows 2 and 3. So we're going to start with the chain 1 and the single crochet 2 together, then bobble in the next stitch, then alternate across, single crochet and bobble until the last 2 stitches. When you have only 2 stitches left, we will single crochet those last 2 stitches together and then turn our work. Now it's time to chain 1, single crochet 2 together in the first 2, and then single crochet in each stitch across until the last 2 stitches. And then we'll single crochet 2 together in the last 2 stitches and turn our work. Chain 1, single crochet 2 together, bobble in the next stitch, and then single crochet 2 together in the last 2 stitches. That leaves us with 3 stitches. So when we turn our work, we're going to chain 3. We'll skip our center stitch and then slip stitch to the last stitch. And this forms our little button loop for our 3/4 inch button that we are going to sew onto our envelope right there. Pull up a long loop and cut that yarn. Now we're going to seam our envelope. So we're going to seam on the wrong side. So that means our bobble stitches are facing us here on this, and then we're going to fold this inside out afterwards. So using your yarn needle and the long tail you left in the matching color, a length of yarn in the same color, you're going to seam along the edges here on both sides. Now on this side, if I had started with a long tail for seaming, I could use it for the entire side here. But I forgot, so I will just use this one for the first couple stitches, and then I'll weave it away and use a length of yarn to finish seaming up the other side, the rest of this side. Okay, once both edges of our envelope are sewn together, we can turn the envelope portion right side out. And I'll weave all those ends in later off camera. For this one here attached to my chain 3, I'm going to go ahead and weave it in now because it secures my button loop, so I don't want that to come undone. Okay, so that concludes our crochet portion. Now we're going to sew on a 3/4 inch button. And I'm going to use a standard sewing needle and thread to do that. Especially when I'm sewing onto yarn, I try to choose the largest needle that will fit through my buttonholes. So I thread my needle the same way I do with yarn and a yarn needle, but I'm doubling it up and tying off the end. So after I tie this first knot, I don't let my left thumb and first finger move. I keep holding the same spot so that when I tie it off again, the knot goes into the same place to make it thicker. And then when I first attach it, here I'm making sure I have it in the right spot there. I am going to go under one loop of yarn and I'm going to thread the needle back in between the thread itself so that it's looped on itself here to help secure it around the needle around the yarn since the thread is always going to be thinner. And then I just thread it onto one of the buttonholes. This has 4 holes, so I'm going to use an X. I'll go all the way through to the back and then go into the opposite hole that is diagonal to the first one, and I will repeat that about 3 times, and then I will switch to make an X with the other set of holes, and again repeat that 3 times. Once I have secured it, I am going to tie it off on the inside here, and I will thread again under one loop, go around that same loop again, and I'm going between my 2 lengths of thread here to secure it on itself, and then I'm going to use the same technique where I wrap it around and tie it and slide that knot all the way down, and then repeat it 2 times. And then, as I do with yarn tails, I weave away the ends. I'm going to do something similar here, weaving back and forth through the yarn so that essentially I'm weaving away the end here before I've cut it off the needle. Then I cut it off, And we're all done except for weaving in those last yarn tails, which I will do on my own. And then you can see your button close on your button loop there at the bottom of your bobbles for your little gift card envelope.